All right, let's dive in. Today, we're looking at something I bet you never thought we'd cover.
Really?
Yeah. We're talking about horses.
Horses.
But with a blockchain twist.
Yeah.
So get ready, because we're going to break down how this tech is revolutionizing like everything. Ownership, health records, even international trade. We're using this report on blockchain in horse tech.
You know, it's amazing how blockchain, a technology we always think of as digital, is finding a place in such a, traditional industry.
Yeah, not the first pairing that comes to mind,
Yeah.
right? But before we jump into the how, let's make sure we're all on the same page about the what blockchain.
Right.
And you give us like a quick explanation. But you know our listeners, they're already pretty tech savvy, so maybe go a little beyond the basics.
Absolutely. At its core, blockchain is basically a digital ledger, but way more advanced. It's tamper-proof, transparent, and spread across a network. So it's not just one big spreadsheet. It's more like a constantly growing chain of blocks, each with verified information. And the really interesting part is that there are different types of blockchains, each with its own way of deciding what gets added.
Makes sense. Okay, but why horses? Why is this industry such a perfect match for blockchain?
Well, horses are really valuable assets, and the industry has always struggled with things like, data being all over the place, ownership disputes, and just needing super strong security and efficiency. Blockchain tackles these issues directly, offers solutions that just weren't possible before.
I was a bit skeptical at first, I admit, but the more I read about this, the more fascinated I get.
Yeah.
So this report is specifically talking about Bitcoin SV as like the leading blockchain platform for, they call it HorseTech. Why Bitcoin SV? What makes it the front runner?
So you've probably heard about how some blockchains have trouble handling a ton of data. But Bitcoin SV is different because it sticks to the original Bitcoin protocol. So that gives it incredible scalability, meaning it can manage the huge amount of information this industry creates, from real-time data, from wearables to all those complex breeding records.
Well, so are we talking about those tiny transactions, the micropayments that Bitcoin SV is known for?
Yes, exactly. Picture a sensor on a horse's leg tracking every step. With these tiny payments, that sensor can write data to the blockchain every few seconds for a fraction of a cent. You just couldn't do that without Bitcoin SV.
Okay, enough about the tech itself. Let's talk real-world stuff. The report highlights some pretty amazing applications for this, starting with ownership.
So imagine a horse's entire history, its digital ID, securely recorded on the blockchain. No more disputes about who owns the horse or questions about its background.
They actually gave a great example about a racing stable. Picture this. A stable is recording all of their horses' data, their training times, any treatments, performance metrics, and all of that goes on the blockchain. So when it's time to sell a horse, potential buyers get a totally transparent record. No more wondering if you're getting the full story.
Exactly. It adds a level of trust and accountability that just wasn't there before. And that transparency can lead to more investment in the industry as a whole.
Next up, we have health records.
Oh, yeah.
This one hits close to home for me. Remember the time I was trying to find all of Fluffy's vet records when we moved?
Oh, I can imagine.
Nightmare. But with blockchain, it's different. Instead of having those records scattered everywhere, you have this central platform where every checkup, every treatment is all recorded, updated in real time.
And easy to access.
And those micropayments. Imagine your vet adding a note after a checkup to the blockchain for a tiny fraction of a cent. It's just amazing how smooth and efficient it can be.
Yeah. It has huge implications for animal welfare, too. Having a complete and updated record can be so important for making good decisions about a horse's care.
Totally. Speaking of data, let's talk about an area that's just getting more important. IoT and real-time data.
Ah, yes. So this is where those tiny micropayments really become essential, because Bitcoin SV makes it possible to collect and analyze data from, wearables, sensors, on a scale we haven't seen before.
The report uses an example of a wearable that's tracking a horse's heart rate. Because the transactions are so small, that wearable can record data every few seconds. It's like constant monitoring.
Exactly. And that flow of data can help spot potential health issues early on and gives valuable insights into how the horse is performing.
Okay, let's move on to something I know a lot of horse people are passionate about. Breeding. Genetics.
Yeah.
And I know our listeners know their stuff when it comes to genetics, so let's focus on how blockchain improves things.
So pedigree and lineage are everything in breeding, and blockchain makes sure those records are 100% verifiable. It's like adding this unbreakable seal of authenticity to the system.
So breeders can record the horse's entire genetic history on the blockchain, and buyers can easily verify it. Lineage, any claims about ancestry, it's all right there.
Exactly. It's a great way to keep breeding programs honest and build trust between breeders and buyers.
And then there's international trade. A whole world of regulations and paperwork. How does blockchain help there?
Okay, so picture this. A horse is at customs. Officials scan something, and instantly they can access its whole history, guaranteeing a smooth and safe journey. All those documents, certifications, digitally verified on the blockchain. No more delays or confusion.
Wow. It streamlines everything, making international horse transport smoother, safer, and more transparent.
Exactly. Everyone wins.
Okay, last but not least, let's talk data in a broader sense. How does blockchain empower horse owners and the whole industry when it comes to managing information?
Well, it opens up some really interesting options for data monetization and research. Owners can choose to share securely or even sell anonymized data, which could be super valuable for the whole industry.
Like the report mentioned a company tracking performance data, right? They could offer access to that data through the blockchain and then charge trainers or researchers for specific info they need.
Yeah, it's a win-win. Owners get paid for their data and researchers get access to valuable insights.
Man, we've only just started to explore what blockchain can do in the world of horses.
Yeah.
It's mind-blowing how this tech is changing the way we think about these animals.
Yeah, I know.
But there's so much more to uncover. So make sure to join us for part 2 of this deep dive, where we'll take an even closer look at why Bitcoin SV is the perfect platform for horse tech and what the future holds for this incredible intersection of technology and, these magnificent creatures.
And we're back for part 2 of our horse tech deep dive. In part 1, we talked about how blockchain is changing the horse world, and today we're zeroing in on Bitcoin SV.
Why is it such a good fit for all this?
It really comes down to Bitcoin SV's commitment to that original Bitcoin protocol. It ensures stability and scalability, which means it can handle mountains of data. And that's key for managing, everything. Horse ownership records, real-time health data from those wearables.
So it's bigger than just micropayments. It's like the whole foundation of Bitcoin SV.
Exactly. It's the robust infrastructure of Bitcoin SV. It's built to handle huge amounts of information, but securely and efficiently, which is just perfect for this industry.
Now, I know whenever we talk about tech and animals, especially horses, we have to think about ethics, right?
Of course.
What about data privacy? We're talking about sensitive stuff here. Health records, genetic data.
Yeah, you're right. Data privacy is super important. And while blockchain is, by its nature, transparent, Bitcoin SV actually allows for selective data sharing. So owners can choose who gets to see their horse's data. That way, sensitive info stays confidential.
So it's not an all or nothing thing. Owners have control. But what about misuse? Could someone, even with blockchain security, manipulate data or get access they shouldn't have?
Well, look, any tech can be misused. But the thing about Bitcoin SV is that its blockchain is immutable, so it's incredibly tough to tamper with data. Any changes, anything added, it's all permanently recorded and everyone can see it. That creates an audit trail, which really discourages any bad actors.
Okay, that's good to know. But security aside, how do we know using blockchain in horse tech is actually good for the horses?
That is the most important question. We have to use this technology responsibly, ethically. Take that real-time health data we talked about from wearables.
Right.
Made possible by those Bitcoin SV micropayments.
Yeah.
This data can help us catch early warning signs of illness, injuries. That means faster, more effective vet care.
So it's not just collecting data for the sake of it. It's about using it to make decisions that can actually improve a horse's life.
Exactly. And blockchain can also promote more ethical breeding by making sure things are transparent, pedigree, genetic information. This can help prevent breeding horses that might have genetic predispositions to certain health problems.
It's about using tech to support responsible ownership and breeding, always putting the horse's well-being first.
Absolutely. And let's not forget about research. Being able to share anonymized data on the Bitcoin SV blockchain in a secure and transparent way, that could lead to huge breakthroughs in equine health, nutrition, performance.
It sounds like with Bitcoin SV, we can have it all. Incredible technology, but ethical considerations too. This is really a fascinating crossover, tech meeting animal welfare. But how does this apply to other industries? Is horse tech just the beginning?
The potential of blockchain goes way beyond horses. Think about any industry where transparency, security, efficiency are essential, like supply chain management.
Oh, you mean tracking products from where they're made to the store, making sure things are authentic, ethically sourced?
Exactly. Blockchain can create this like unbreakable record of every step in that process. From a farm to the shelf, we're talking food, pharmaceuticals, even luxury goods. The potential is huge.
We're back for the final stretch of our HorseTech deep dive. We've seen how blockchain, especially Bitcoin SV, is shaking things up in the horse world. But as you said, this is just the start.
It really is. What we're seeing with horses, it's like a model for how blockchain can change any industry where trust and transparency matter. And of course, efficiency.
It's like we opened this stable door and found a whole new universe.
Exactly.
So where else could we see blockchain having this kind of impact?
Well, what about healthcare?
Oh, yeah. We talked about those secure health records for horses. Could that work for people too?
Absolutely. Imagine your whole medical history is safe and sound on the blockchain. You and your doctor can access it with your permission, of course.
No more digging through files, trying to remember details. It would just streamline everything.
And with Bitcoin SV, you wouldn't have to worry about security, about your information ending up where it shouldn't.
It's kind of amazing to think how blockchain could give patients more control and change the whole healthcare experience. What other industries come to mind?
Oh, there are so many. I mean, real estate, voting systems, intellectual property rights, all ripe for disruption.
It feels like we're watching like a whole new technological era being born, one built on transparency, trust, no more centralized control.
It all goes back to those core principles of blockchain, that data can't be changed, the security, the ability to handle all those tiny micropayments.
Right. It's those things that make Bitcoin SV so powerful in all this. It's not just like digital money. It's a platform for real change.
And we're just scratching the surface here. As more developers start really exploring this tech, we're going to see even more groundbreaking applications.
It's exciting, but also kind of overwhelming to think about how big this shift could be, right?
Yeah, it is. It reminds us that we're living in a time of incredible change. The important thing is to approach it all with curiosity, with responsibility, and always making sure tech is used for good.
Well said. So as we wrap up this deep dive, is there like one key takeaway you want listeners to remember?
The world is changing, and blockchain is a big part of that. Whether it's horse tech, supply chains, healthcare, whatever, this tech can reshape things and give power back to individuals. It's pretty amazing.
It's definitely a call to action for all of us. Stay informed, stay engaged, and be ready to embrace what's coming. Who knows? Maybe the next big breakthrough will be inspired by horse tech.
Maybe. The future is full of potential, and it's up to us to use tech for the right reasons. Thanks for joining us on this deep dive. Keep exploring this world of blockchain. You never know how it might impact your life.
Until next time, happy trails.